Thanks for moving to the correct video. Welcome back. Let's continue. I'm so glad you have an analysis question. Now let's write our evaluation question. Our possible frames are, do you agree with the actions, ... How would you justify? Justify is to explain. Why did the character choose? Would it be better if? What choice would you have made? And what would you recommend? Remember that these need to apply to Chapter 8. And I think that I'm going to select the prompt, what choice would you have made? Now this is a tricky frame because it really requires us to think about questions that ask us to draw information from the text and not just our own experiences. So I'm going to start by writing my frame. What choice would you have made? Okay. And for this one, I'm referencing the very beginning of the chapter, which is starting approximately at page 105. Here is where Salvador and Lupita are deciding what to do after immigration leaves. And on page 106, we have them talking about what their next step is. And we see that Senor Rodrigo says, it would be better for you two to leave here now. And Salvador says, it is our wish to go, Senor. But this was a choice that they made. You could easily evaluate whether or not you would have made this same choice. That would make a good discussion. So you can complete this frame. What choice would you have made after immigration had raided your employer? This requires you to draw evidence and evaluate the decisions that Salvador and Lupita have made. So go ahead and complete this question. I'll put the page number, page 106 for reference, if you would like to use the same question. If you think that you are at a more advanced level, you can use one of these other frames to write a chapter that is an question that is an evaluation question for Chapter 8. All right. Good job writing your evaluation question. Now, it's time for our synthesis question. This is where we combine all of the knowledge we have into a new way. Our possible frames include, what change would you make to solve? How would you improve? Can you propose an alternate? And can you predict the outcome of? I love using the frame, can you predict the outcome of? Because it requires us to draw evidence from multiple points of the story. I'm going to begin by writing that frame here for my questions. Can you predict the outcome of? All right. And the part in the story that I'm going to draw this question from appears at the very end of the chapter. And we have back on page 115, here we see that it says, life came down to one thing only now, keeping our feet moving on the road that led to Indio. This leaves us at a little bit of a cliff because they're still on the journey. So for me, starting on page 115, if this is the point in the story that I'm going to reference, I might say, can you predict the outcome of the Torres children's journey to Indio? What is going to happen next? I can't just make this up. I have to come up with evidence from the text to help me out. That's what makes this a synthesis question. Go ahead and steal my question or come up with your own question for the synthesis level of questioning. You can use any of these frames or you can use my question. Can you predict the outcome of the Torres children journey to Indio? Go ahead, resume when you're ready. All right. Next step is to re-rate ourselves. What's our current level of understanding of today's objective, which has to do with writing these different types of questions. How are you feeling about this? Ready to do it on your own? This is probably one of the more challenging things we do, so it's okay if you're still struggling. If you've completed all of this side of your page, including these questions, now remember, Miss Antonson and Miss Donaldson will not grade your work if all you have is a question frame. You must write the actual questions here, not just the frame. And they should match the frame and the question type. If you've done this, you're ready to move on to our exit slip. In our exit slip, here are our directions. Identify the level of question for each of the following questions. Then, answer the questions. This part is not actually true. We don't have to answer the questions. If you finish early, you can do this as a bonus on a separate piece of paper or in the blank space down below. So, our work here is to identify the level of question. So identify is just simply naming the level of question. And for level of question, I think back to that tree map that I made with my 6 different branches of questions. I want to think about what level they are. I think that the frames are really going to help me with this. So I'm going to make sure that I can reference both my levels of questions and the key words that I completed on the back of this page. Here are my frames to help guide me. So I take a look at these questions and I'm going to identify the level. My possible options are knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, evaluation, and synthesis. You don't need to write these, but I find it helpful to have my possible answers ready to go. Question number 1. Where do Lupita and Salvador work? What level of question is this one? I'm going to say where do is my frame. Number 2. Can you predict the outcome of Concha's life now that she has been arrested by La Migra? What level question is this? Can you predict? Number 3. What would happen if Salvador and Lupita stayed in the hopper and it began filling with grain? My frame, what would happen? Number 4. Why do you think Lupita and Salvador work for Senor Esposito even though they have to pay him? This is a why do you think question. What level is it? Number 5. Put Lupita and Salvador's journey to the United States into your own words. This isn't a question, but it's asking us to do something. What level is it? Would it be better if Lupita and Salvador continued walking until they got to Indio? Would it be better? What level of question is that? If you have completed all of your exit slip, good job. You're done with today's assignment. If you happen to finish before the end of class, go ahead and go to your chapter summary homework booklet and complete your chapter summary for Chapter 8 using our Somebody Wanted, But So Then strategy. Thanks so much for participating in today's lesson. I hope you have a great rest of your day.